Good morning. My name is Raghuveer Singh from Taylor's College News Channel. In today's top story, the unrest in Ukraine. In the news a lot recently because it is the center of the biggest argument between the world's most powerful countries, Russia and USA. On BBC's news round, on May 11, voting took place in eastern Ukraine to see if people would want to stay part of the country or be an independent state. Referendums were held in Donetsk and Luhansk, and organizers said that most people in the country wanted it to be an independent state. However, Western governments and Ukrainian leaders in Kiev said the vote was illegal and it did not count as it was not carried out properly. Many people were unhappy about this and they are accusing our government of being corrupt. Now we go to Wayne, our parliamentary reporter, with the latest.
The former president of Ukraine, Yanukovych, gave his speech towards most protesters and revolters. Press told that he advocates to solve this unrest peacefully and gave a solution as satisfying as possible. Likewise, he sent a harsh caution to those oppositions that he denies any radicalization of political process will lead to positive consequences, and those extreme actions by using even instigating civil rallies are always wrong and someone should be responsible. However, it's shocking that the government looks like going to end this unrest without violence. Like Yanukovych, who serves in the ministry, apologized for those overreaction of abusing police force. It resulted in a resignation of Kiev police chief. Meanwhile, he warned the protesters that the government will respond to those disorders sternly. According to CNN News, Solan was said by Ukraine President-elect Poroshenko that intend to give penalties to those troublemakers who shot down Ukraine army helicopter, resulting in soldiers' deaths. And the government will do whatever it takes to restrain those pro-Russian separatists. He showed in his resolution that the government was not working until the rest has been eased. The national operation returns to run normally, and the people's safety is guaranteed. Thanks, Ricky.
Protests in Ukraine have now become incredibly violent. Dozens of people have lost their lives and hundreds more have been injured. The violence first began when police tried to remove protesters, but they firmly stood their ground, which resulted in both sides going head-to-head. The reason the protests began is because the Ukrainian president's cabinet abandoned the EU's agreement in favor of closer ties with Moscow. Anti-government protests who support the EU want Ukraine to be more friendly with other European countries. However, the government and parts of eastern Ukraine are against it as they are in favor of closer ties with Moscow. Now we go to Alex, the protester in Ukraine.
Nowadays, social media becomes the most popular way for people to communicate. Almost 90% people under 40 years old at least have one account in social media. Facebook has 1.28 billion users now, and also Facebook is more for the purpose of spreading information and operating tool for those on the ground. Our founding suggestion that social media as it has throughout this protest continue to be an organization tool for those in Kiev and also the most relevant for exchanging information both with Ukraine and both. When I'm using Facebook or YouTube, I can share the information with the other protesters. We can set up a time of protest activity, and also we can gather more people to join us, not only the local, but also the people from all over the world. It's extremely powerful and effective that we have the supporter everywhere. It also can be anonymous, which helps us can get the more supporters who don't want to appear in public. And also we already organized some success protest activity in Kiev. We can analyze all the detail of our activity in our Facebook page, and we can upload our video of our activity, which also can help us to attract more people to join us and make our protest become more well organized.
To our foreign correspondent, Stacy, in Ukraine, who is in the midst of an ongoing protest.
With constant protests and riots ongoing in Kiev, there's no doubt that Ukrainians' human rights will be violated. For instance, a group of riot police brutally beat up several people, resulting in them being severely injured or dead.
Is 17 years old, Mikhailo Neskogas. While he was making room in his cell phone to take more pictures of the clashes, a riot policeman hit him on the head and grabbed him. 4 policemen then dragged him several meters away from where they caught him and made him run through a gauntlet of police. The police beat him with their nightstick, punched and kicked him. The riot police also stripped him naked on the spot in sub-zero temperatures while many were washing. One of the police cut Niskogas' right butt and thigh with a knife, saying, "This is for my colleague who's in coma." The police then sprayed pepper spray on Niskogas' open wound and forced him to sing Ukraine's national anthem. His face and body was covered in cuts and bruises, one of which left a 15cm scar. Police have definitely breached one of our basic human rights, that is, no torture. Nobody has the right to hurt us or to torture us in any given circumstances. They have not only mentally and physically abused Niskogas, but also disregarded the fact that Niskogas is a human. They did not give the respect that one deserves, which accounts for another human right infringement. No discrimination despite our differences. We are all born free and equal in dignity and rights, so we all should be treated in the same way with the rights to life.
It was just in. Ukrainian troops killed 25 people in Krasny Liman Hospital. When will all of this end? That's all for me. Raghuvinder Singh, Taylor's College News, signing off.